Welcome back to my Pixinsight tutorial for Absolute Beginners series. Now in the last videos we talked about automatic background extraction, and I believe we cropped the image just to get rid of the outer edge offsets frames and some black bars due to the stacking or dithering. So we used ABE, which is this icon right here, and it did a really good job to remove the green cast. But what I noticed when I went back to the image and looked at it, I'm going to close this, and I got the image up on the second workspace, which is down here. I'm going to open it up so you guys can see it. When I used the automatic background extraction, I noticed there was a big black ridge around M31. So it was really darker. And then there was this residual glow here on the left and one on the right and a little bit on the bottom. And I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. Or maybe use the other process, which is the dynamic DBE instead of ABE. And I looked into it further, and yes, this I wouldn't want, there's too much residual here to continue processing the image. So, and even though the automatic one does a great job to remove that green cast, which is here, it sometimes leaves these dark rims or ridges around the galaxy, if it's a galaxy. Haven't tried it on a nebula, but I suppose the principle is the same. So what some people do is they run the dynamic background first, and once they've completed that, and if there's any residual glow, then they use the automatic background extractor just to lightly clean that up nicely. So ABE is fine, it works great, removes the cast, you end up with an image like this, and then from here you can start removing the noise by creating a mask. Or perhaps at this point you will probably need to calibrate the color. So you'd have to do a background neutralization and color calibration, which is going to be in the next two videos. So we always know that the first thing we have to do is we have to remove that green cast from the RGB matrix on your one-shot color. So today we're going to just cover, because we already dealt with ABE and you saw the result, which does a pretty good job removing the green cast, but now we're going to work on dynamic background extraction. And of course the icon can be found here. If you look for it, it'll be there. It's also going to be in your processes. If you drop down under all process, under D for dynamic background extraction, which is fine. Hopefully by then though you've already created an icon. It's already on the desktop. So ABCD down here somewhere. Oh, I look for these things, I can never find them, and they're right in front of my eyes. In any event, you know where to get it. So dynamic background extraction. I'm going to say this before we get started on how to use this, is that you have to get this one right of all the process modules that you use. The other ones, there's a lot of flexibility in noise, there's flexibility in the histograms, and unchart mask and HDR based on what you're trying to do with the image. And but in the dynamic background extraction, I hear other people that are really good at Pixinsight to make sure you get the dynamic background extraction done as best that you can. So I'm going to show you the simplest way, and in this video it might be a little longer than the other ones, what you can do to improve your sample and your weights. So let's get started. So as soon as I open this, I'll close it again. Yes. As soon as I opened this a few minutes ago, it created a cross. So you double click it, it makes a cross, and from there are lots of parameters here and it can get scary. Let's close that one. So you'll have tolerance. We'll play with that in a minute. We'll skip over the model. We'll go to sample generation. This is by far the most important one because it's the one who will place samples across your galaxy, your image, so that it can subtract the green and the sky haze or the moon glow or anything that's, well, basically we are trying to get rid of the green cast, but it'll do much more than that. So you can leave everything at default just to get started and just hit generate. And it's going to place sample points across the screen. So let's just hit generate without changing any of the tolerance at 500. 10 samples per row, and the size of each sample box will be 5. You'll see that in a minute. It'll be tiny, tiny, and we're sampling at 750. I'm not going to go into what that means, only that this can be changed to get a better sampling rate. So let's generate a bunch of little squares. And there they are, and I don't know if you can see them, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Scroll down. There's one here. They're so tiny, and there's another one right in the center here. And if I scroll over to the far side, there's another one here. So obviously these boxes are a bit small. So let's go to sample radius and go from 5 right up to 20. And then click resize all. Oh no, that's better. That's much better size. The second thing that I usually, there, at least now you can see them. The other thing that we want to do is sometimes they're hard to see on gray. See sample color gray? If I double click on the gray, I can actually change the color of that box. So just hit it. I'm going to try to make them blue. I'm not sure if it's going to change them. Yeah, now they're even harder to see against the green. So double click. Maybe not sure if black would help at all. No, they're still. Let me just scroll down. There's the green. So that didn't help. And I didn't have to change it. Of course, you don't want a green on green and you'll never see them. Let's see if we can make like a fuchsia or something. Let's back up. Again, kind of looks gray. At least you can see them. Selected will be green, and the ones that we're looking at now they look gray. They're supposed to be this kind of a pinkish red. And if it's a bad sample, in other words, one that Pixinsight cannot use, it'll be bright red. So enough messing around with colors, which has nothing to do with fixing this image. So we made the sample a little bit larger. Now at least I can see them. Now when we executed that, it automatically placed them all over the place. Now you know that, well, you didn't know, but hopefully you'll know now, that you can add samples yourself. Let's just go here and put one. There's one here, and I'm going to put one there. There we go. So we just added 2 of them. So you can place points everywhere. What's the point? No pun intended. The point is to only put sample points on the background, never on top of the galaxy, not on top of your nebula, not on top of Orion or Trifid, whatever target you're, always on the you're searching for the background only. Now sometimes when you hit generate, it attempts to put them all over the place, away from anything bright. And Pixinsight does a pretty good job usually to not hit any bright targets. The core, the lanes, another little galaxy. It's looking for dark spot. And of course it's going to try to miss the stars. And it does a 90% good job. The other 10% I'll show you why, not why, but how we can not let them you don't want one over a star. Let me give you an example. If I click on this one, do you see this black star here? We cannot have that. That's not allowed in the sense that you don't want that. You want to move it off to where there's no star at all. And we'll do that in a minute. So there you go. So let's say you have this galaxy and there's not enough, you find that there's not enough points to cover. There's a lot of big spaces here. There's none there. There's none there. So a couple things we can do is bring this from 500. In other words, be less tolerant. Go to 750. And hit generate. Wow, another 6 or 7 radius points showed up. Great. Still missing quite a few down here because it's kind of white. Another thing we can do is the sample weight of that. Instead of going up, you want to go down. So go 0.50 or 0.500. Again, watch your screen. Zoom in a bit. Let's generate that. And a whole bunch showed up in the outer. So this is just what you're shooting for. You can keep moving back and forth on the tolerance, move up and down on your sample weight, and what you want is to get at least all the outer parameter and anywhere on the inside not touching the galaxy or anything white, including stars, so that you can subtract that green cast from the RGB. The other thing is that you're going to want to correct that going from green to neutral, and that means you have to subtract all this green cast from your image. So I've done this a few times and I forgot to put correction and it subtracted nothing. Gave me a picture that looked the same. So that's really, really important because it's the last step. So now that you've selected subtraction, you can go back up. So what's the most important thing here? A couple of things. How many rows, how many points you want per row. Sometimes I use 8, 6. If there's barely any stars, you know, it depends. If there's a lot of stars, I might bring it down a bit because the field's just peppered with stars. The point, every time I put a sample point, there's a star. It's on top of a star, and you don't want to come in contact with any stars. So play with the sample rows as much as you want. You can go from 5 to 20. You put 20, there'll be so many. It'll take you an hour to sort them all out. And I better get cracking here because it's going to take a while to show you the next step. So, and the radius, well, that's how big they're going to be. Like right now, I could go. I'm just going to show you for the heck of it. Hopefully, it doesn't change my sample rates. I'm going to go resize 50. Those are huge. You're going to have a hard time moving them away from the stars if the stars are nearby. So, but it's good if there's not many stars. So I like 20 a lot because it gives me a lot of control. So okay, just change the default sample rate to 20, resize. Or if you want, you can use 10. And as I look at this, maybe 25. Just a little bit bigger so I can grab more back. There we go. Okay, so let's say you're happy. You've got... the tolerance is good. It accepted a lot more of the entire image. The rate's 25. Sorry, the sample per row. No, again, that's all. That's okay. Everything's okay. The minimal sample weight is 500. The more you lower this, the harder it's going to hit the background and give you more. It's going to be more or less tolerant of to the white compared to the dark background. So you keep lowering this, it's going to hit it harder. You keep raising it, it's going to say, I'll just let a few go by. I won't be as hard on the images as you want it to be. And I've dropped this sometimes as low as 300, 0.300, and 0.500 is standard. Actually, we could probably go 400 right now. Regenerate all the squares, and that's it. It added maybe 1 or 2 more, and it's just going to attempt to get more background. So let's deal with the problems. Obviously, this is generated automatically, but there are issues with our points. Sorry, I just chose one. I just made one, and it's red. Oh, well, that's good. A mistake actually turned into a lesson. Notice what happened when I clicked here accidentally, right in M31. This is a red square. If you look down here, bad sample color, red, bad. So we don't want that there. So you can highlight it with the mouse, hit del, it's gone. We don't want it there. So here's what I do. This is my workflow for DBE. And I said, please take your time. I don't care if it takes an hour. You have to get this step right for the rest of your 4 hours to go along better, smoother, easier. Just so that color everything will end up being smooth and nice. And the harder you hit the DBE, or the dynamic background extraction, I mean, if you really, really hit it hard and you extract it hard, I find it leaves the image really grainy. That's what I found. I don't know what the cure is. Maybe it's because the camera's a little bit noisy, or maybe it's just being extracted too hard. How do we change that? Maybe less points, maybe less tolerance, maybe less weight. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Just do what I'm doing here, and it'll turn out really, really good. So again, sample points cannot touch stars. Well, in this case, this one is, because if I highlight it, we have a star right here. What do? Move it. There you go. This one has a star in it too. Move it over. And this one has one. Move it over. This one has a little one. It's acceptable. This one has a big one. That's not acceptable. Move it over. Move it over. And notice I can see the dark lanes here from M31. We're in the galaxy. So if we are in the galaxy, we're going to have to do a lot more than just toss it over. We're really going to have to move it over. Like completely off the galaxy completely. Cannot have this here. Go find a spot where there's no stars. Move it off. This one, star. Move it. This one here. Move it down. And remember, I'm hard left. Hard left. I'm working my way up. There's a star there. There's a star there. There's one here. Move this over about up here. That one's pretty good. This one has a star. This one has a star. Remember, Pixinsight attempts to miss the stars. If your boxes are small enough, then it'll be a lot easier. And I went on purpose. I made them bigger. I mean, I made the sample radius a lot bigger. And that's fine. So scroll over a bit. 4 boxes. Again, on a star. Boy, you think it would get every star? Look, it hit every star. Move this off the galaxy, because I can see M31's right here. Andromeda. Notice it didn't put any on the core. It just started to put some on the lanes. Let's move it over. Move that over. This is going to take 10 minutes. Hopefully I can do it in 3. Get off the galaxy, off the galaxy. That one's good. That one's not too bad. This one's on a couple of stars. Move that over. Keep going. On a star. Pull away from the galaxy. On some stars. And you're starting to get the idea here. You can add a point if you want to add one. Anywhere where there's a blank, there's no nice spot where there's no stars. On the stars. You can create one. I can make one right here by clicking anywhere on the window. On top of the stars. Don't want that. Okay, again, on top of the stars, move it over. We're in the galaxy. We have to move away from the galaxy. This is the top of Andromeda. Don't want that. Again, I can see the lanes, the dust lanes. This is tedious, but you have to take your time and do it right. I've heard other guys on Pixinsight videos, and they're like, get this one right. Take the time it takes to place all your sample points all over where there's an opening. Stay away from the stars. Pull away from the lanes because you don't want to be subtracting M31. You see this one here? I'm just going to make it red. I'm just going to hit del. Get rid of that completely. It's like the dust things come way down here. Look, I push this up a bit. Okay, now let's zoom out. So I have all these points here on the bottom right. I have a few on the top, a couple on the bottom, lots on the left. I could probably put a few more on the left here, 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 down here, maybe one here. Don't touch the galaxy as much as possible. Don't touch the lanes as much. Okay, so that went pretty fast actually. And remember, I'm just going to minimize, call that minimize, kind of is minimizing. Target image correction is subtraction. Now some people hit normalize, I don't. I did it, I didn't see any difference. And there's probably if you read, you know, along all these videos, when I was hovering over each word, there's a little pop-up text that says, if this option is selected by default, the above medium normalization will be applied, and if yada yada yada. You can read this, and if you understand it, you can click on it. Normalize the background of the corrected image. I don't do that, and I don't discard the background model because I actually want to see what was pulled away, right? And I don't want to replace it, though you could. That means you don't have to deal with this anymore. You'll have a brand new image. Something goes wrong though. So I don't touch these. Why don't we just hit check mark? Let's see what happens. If we did this right, we'll have two images. One of the GG, which is a green from RGGB right here. Move that over. And and we can hit the nuclear button or the screen transfer function. There's another thing I didn't mention since the very beginning, and I almost have to go back a week. These icons, when you first open Pixinsight, they're not there, and they're like way over here hidden. And you're like, wait, he's talking about this thing, but I don't see it. How come it's not here? Because I had to grab this bar here. You see this? And I had to take it from over here and drag it and put it where I wanted. This would be a great time to teach you this. Remember, you guys are beginners. Well, maybe a lot of you are not beginners. You knew about this. Like my zoom was never here. I put it here to clear up, to make up some space up here so I could work with my screen transfer function, my icons, my extraction, and undo, redo. When we will be doing other things later on, I want this particular section up here. So screen transfer function, undo, zoom on the side. You just drag, slowly drag it here to the right. And of course, there's these ones here for all your little previews. That being said, you can probably fix it now, or you may be caught onto it earlier. So we don't need this anymore. We'll just close the dynamic background extraction module. And this says background. So you can open up STF if you want. That's one way to do it. You can hit stretch. And this is what we've removed. And I don't think you can see this on YouTube, but there's a lot of variance in the green from light all the way to dark down here. That's one way. I can close that. Now there's two nuclear buttons. One, standard STF, and then max out STF. Now to really push it beyond the 2550, which is dark and black, to really see, just to get a deeper look. You don't want to keep it there, but you can. So I hit it again, nothing happened here, but on other places and at other times, I'll show you that you can do a normal auto stretch, and then an excessive auto stretch. Okay, let's get rid of the background because it has no use to us. In fact, it's our enemy. Here's what we just created using the dynamic background extraction. Let's stretch it. You can use this if you want. A lot of people like to use this little box and stretch it. Make sure you're linked. Make sure RGB, the chain, is highlighted, and nuke it. There we go. Now, and of course this is the background. Sorry, that's not the background. That's a picture in the background, and it's our original M31 that we did over the last last couple of videos. So we can close that because we're not going to keep this. Actually, I keep them if I ever want to revisit them, but I'll close it. And this is our new M31. I'm just going to save it right away because you don't want to lose this little guy. Okay, so it's DBE, and I'm going to put an underscore, maybe A. You know, like A, B, C, D, E. Not for A for automatic, just A for. It could have been DBE 1, 2, 3. Call it what you want. Just remember what you called it. So this is my test M31 for dynamic background extraction. I save it. It's going to say, oh, it's a JPEG. No, I don't want that as a JPEG. Let's try that again. File, save as, drop down menu, XISF, and put my A back on here. Over. Underscore A for the first one, just so I know that the A is what I did. 32-bit. Save. Now remember we talked about automatic background extraction. That's the yellow one here. How it did a great job. Let's have a look on Workspace 2. And we were left with a nice black ring and lots of glow. That is automatic. Back to Workspace 1. No glow, no glow, no ring. This is a very, very good job. Well done. The program did a great job. I only assisted in it by choosing the sample points, adjusting the tolerance, hit it harder, less hard. You can tell by how many radius boxes show up. If there's only shows up like 20 and they're not even in the corners or the top of the very bottom, then naturally you're going to want to say, well, I'm going to have to increase the tolerance to 600, 700, 900. I once went to 1.250 just to dig deeper into the corners. So keep in mind that this is the one you want to change. And sampling, again, they kind of work together. If I say sample 300 for the heck of it, you're not supposed to do this on this, but I can cancel it. And if I generate it, maybe it helps it to, again, analyzes the whole image, puts the points in the background only, hopefully, and you can move the points around off the stars, away from the and you can see here it kind of hits the lanes a little bit, but not bad though on the edge. I'm not going to redo this. There's no green cast, so I'm certainly not going to extract the background. It's been extracted, but here's what some people have done, and I'm just going to cancel it. Yes. Good. So this is the good one. This is the second one. This is the other one from the last video. It's also very good, but left a lot of haze or glow or gradients or whatever it was, light pollution. I don't know, but this did way better. So, but what some people do is they run DBE first, and then when they're done with this, because this, you can run ABE first. I usually run it second. You can run it dynamic background and then auto background, but then you may say to yourself, well, isn't one just better than the other? Depends on the target. Depends on what your eyes see at the result of each target. It depends how, if your sky was pitch dark, there was no gradients, there was no moon, there was no haze, there was no northern lights, the seeing was really, really transparent, and all you're doing is extracting the green cast, and that's as far as it goes. But some people use dynamic background extraction, then they run this just afterwards for any residual. So box size is at 8. Don't touch anything at all because it's automatic. Subtract whatever you feel might be residual and hit drag and drop the icon. We're going to do it now, and maybe we'll undo it, but I just want to see what the result's going to be. Let's see if there's anything else that we can pull away from here, because we already did the green cast. All right, so here's the background, and let's stretch it. So wow, there's some darker areas here. There's a bit of fuzziness in the center where Andromeda is. There's maybe a little bit of, perhaps this might be some vignette left over. And a lot of people use DBE and ABE for that very reason, for a vignette. Some people try to remove the vignette just by hitting the dynamic background extraction, the automatic background extraction. At least that's all I know. I am not a professional. I'm just trying to help you guys to get a decent, nice image that you can post online to show your friends. So I'm actually going to keep this, not the background. I'm going to discard the background, but let's hit it a second time using Ultra. There we go. Now you know what the double nuke can do. So these little parts, these dark parts, will be removed from the background image of M31. Let's get rid of this. Let's take this one now. And let's see if let's close off ABE. Let's use the screen transfer function and let's see if it's made it worse or better. If you pull too hard, you know what's going to happen. And you see what happened? It just either left stuff in or tried to take stuff out. There's this big white glow. I don't like that. I really don't like how the automatic background extractor works for this particular image. So let's get rid of that. Okay. I believe we're done. For this particular process, DBE worked really good on M31. It made it nice and flat, took all the haze out, took out some of the vignette in the corners, the glow, and you can see here I didn't have any flat, so I have a little bit of a dust mote. Yeah, where's another one right here? There's two, anyways. Later we'll talk about cloning. I don't know if it's in here. Yeah, I have it right here. Clone Wars. Yeah, I called it Clone Wars. It's actually clonestamp. I can probably just show you real quickly how it works. Yeah, I know. Hold on a second. Let me zoom in here. And right here. And there's a big black circle here. Sometimes you can clone defects. This is not a defect. This is a dust bunny. But let me increase the softness to about 80. Let's make the circle radius about 20. Let's opacity down to about 60-ish. And then if I hold the control key about, have to find a spot where there's no stars if I'm going to kind of play with this. I suppose we can start here. And then I just hold control. I clicked it. Now see how I can move it? But this is my point. So I can actually remove this by taking another part of the star, and that mote's now gone. But we know what I did do. There's all these stars here that I was passing over top. They're now here. But I think you get the point. Is if you have a nice open space, you can get rid of black, anything that's hot pixels, anything that's unwanted. It ends up being like Photoshop. So if I use Control Z, they're all gone. Had I liked what I did, I would have hit OK. Let's go up a bit. There's another one here, a smaller one. Well, now you're getting to learn two modules in one. So if I hold the control again, and you see this black one here, I'm going to click, let's see, find a spot where there's not too many stars, maybe right here. And I'm going to go here and here. Again, if you hold the control, you get to grab it again. Again, right here. If you clone dark to light, you'll end up putting dark there, like that. That actually got rid of that little dark spot. Not perfect, but not bad. You can't see it now. So can you appreciate this tool, clonestamp? You hit control, click somewhere in the dark spot, and then let go. Go over to where you want it, and just erase that hot pixel, erase whatever you want. Don't forget to hit this little guy, which I'm going to do right now. And now that will be kept. The other one was too big. The other one was too big, so it was hard to get rid of it. We're here now. Maybe I'm not going to do a clonestamp video. It's just too simple of a tool to use. But I'm here, and we're recording, so why not just go ahead and use it? At least. Here's a big brown spot. Let's try it again. So find an area here. Try to match the colors. See how it's light here and it's dark here. So if I'm working here, I'm going to go just about click here. Control. Now my radius is too big. Makes sense. Let's make it smaller. Let's make it 10. Why not? That way we can work around it. So I'm going to grab again here where I know there's no stars. And I'm going to remove this. Wow. Look at that. Hopefully that wasn't part of the galaxy, and it probably was. But I was just wanting to show you how the clone. So you erase a little blotchiness that wasn't supposed to be there. Don't erase your dust lanes. Apply it. Yep, everybody's happy. Go back to your image. This is fantastic. Close that. If you like your settings, you can drag this here and drop it. Rename it. Clone 1. Don't put any spaces. Okay, so here's your clone 1, right? Delete that. Bring up clone 1. Bring in clone wars. Actually, you can keep both if you want, because they're not the same name. You'll have, so you know that this is default, and you know this is your favorite. So now you can actually create favorites. Look at with your savings, your settings already saved. This is just, I love Pixinsight. Yeah, go ahead and click it. So that's it. Now that we did about a bunch of work on here, remember, and I don't say this enough, save, save, save it. Either the same name, or you can call it new M31 as we progress into our videos. Okay, so that's it. Next video coming up is going to be neutralizing the background. Since we no longer have a green cast, we're also going to do a color correction. And if all goes well, I'll try to pick a image that I'm familiar with the focal length and my camera, and we're going to use a brand new module that came out last year called photometric color calibration using the Harvard server's white references. Average Galaxy. No, I'm not even going to go here right now. This is a teaser. No spoilers. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. It was fun. I enjoy making these. I hope you learned something. I hope this is valuable. Please subscribe. Tell your friends on Cloudy Nights, wherever, Google, Yahoo groups. Those who are like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I just paid $500 for this program, and I don't even know how to open it up. Or I can open it up, then I'm lost. This is for the guys that are absolute beginners, and some intermediate might say, he did something I hadn't seen before, even though I've been doing this for 2 years. I thought that was interesting, and I actually got comments saying, Mike, I learned something. Like, well, that's the whole point, isn't it? So please subscribe and like it, and don't forget to click that little bell so that you get later notifications. These videos are going to go on the whole spring. I've got a bunch of different ones coming up. We'll deal with different processes that maybe I have never done before, and we're going to be experimenting. What's the whole point? Let's get some really nice pictures. Let's get some nice images using unbelievable software that is worth every penny. Again, we're not in competition with anybody. This is not a competition, it's a hobby. So please have fun. Enjoy. See you next time. Thank you very much for watching.